What's up? As you probably know, I usually focus more on PvP content rather than PvE, and I actually didn't make any Phantom Shogun videos yet. Mostly it was just because I was enjoying summer and there was fusion going on, so I didn't really have time to play with the new dungeon. But now I have kind of seen it and I was testing it a bit more yesterday, and I have seen a lot of complaints, like the issues with the boss, like you need specific champions like Riho and so on. And I basically have a solution for it. You might not be able to do it anyway, or you might be able to do it. But basically I'm saying that you can pretty much do this boss with any champions. You will need pretty good gear, and you will need blessing specifically. But basically this video might give you some options how to look at this boss differently. I didn't really look up all the guides that people have made for this boss, but they were for specific team comps, and this guide is not for specific team comp. This is how you can unlock the boss and how you can do it. But first of all, let's look at the Hell Hades website. So he has this very excellent tool. You can find it if you go to Team Optimizer on the top right side of the screen. And here you can select a dungeon and the stage, and it will basically show you teams that work with the champions that you have on your account. And it will show how popular they are and the win ratios and so on. And if I quickly look at the type of teams that people can do with my champions, because me, for instance, I don't have Riho, and usually on all dungeons I can't really use the meta teams, and I use a bit more scuffed teams. And here you can see that this team is actually pretty good, and it is totally working. And this is basically using one of those new champions called Ruark, who has a taunt, and you will use Ninja and Gold Heart and then reset it with Kaimar, and this totally works. But the issue is that when I ran this with my account, it did work, but the win ratio wasn't very high. It was maybe 50%. And the issue is that I don't really have blessings on any of those champions on my account. Let me show it to you quickly. So I do have those champions, I can make the team, but I don't have blessings, so it's not very consistent. If I quickly look it up, Ninja, no blessing, Ruark, no blessing, and you basically get the point. But this team definitely did work, and I definitely plan to go for this team later if I get the blessings. But then I was testing a bit more, and can I make any other teams with higher win ratio? And basically it is kind of to be expected, to be honest. This was clearly the intention of Plarium, but the conclusion that I came across is that you can definitely use champions like Ninja and Gnut, and they will be the best nukers on this boss. But if you really want to get it done with what you have, using champions with the highest blessings is the best option. And basically I ended up using my Rotos anyway, just because he's the only champion that I have with 6-star blessing. And then I was using Crypt King instead of Ninja, just because I happened to get a 4-star blessing for him. And I haven't bought a single soulstone back, so my soulstone cash isn't the best, but I have been grinding Iron Twins the entire time, so I do have some blessings, but not any 5 or 6-star ones, except the 2 that I bought, which is Rotos and Duchess. But basically I tested them. This team works basically with all of pretty much any champions that I put into it, with the same core team, that it has my champions with the highest blessing, and then I can change the blast champion to pretty much anything. This team, the meta team that people do with Ruark, it definitely works, but it has a lot lower win ratio because it doesn't have blessings. But let's actually quickly do a run so that you get the idea. But what I have ended up doing is that for now I'm not using Ninja, and I probably won't be using Gnut, though I didn't get him yet. I will get him tomorrow and I will test a bit more. And the funny thing about this champion, if I like quickly explain the builds, I was kind of following the tunes that the other people were doing with the Hell Hades optimizer. But what really only matters here is that you need to have Cardiel or some cleanse champion with this high number of speed, and this can be very hard to achieve. You could definitely do this with Python, but you will need probably higher level of blessings in the team or somebody else with ally attacks. But basically any cleanser would do, but it needs to be kind of very specific speed that it can do it, and it will open not with the cleanse but another skill. But for instance, this Mitrola, I actually switched her boots just to make this run a bit faster, but normally she's in HP boots and she is built for Classic Arena, and she isn't like she's totally unoptimized for this content, and it still works. And everybody else is kind of in a basic build. You could do this with other speed, but I can kind of just put my best leftover perception on these champions. And even the Cold Heart is like tanky with very low crit damage. I was originally trying one of those other comps that you build one champion with high crit damage, like people do with Kaimar or Bad El Khazar and other champions. You basically build it as a tank for the boss and it will put the debuffs on him. But I found out that actually for me the best option is to just use my Protoss as a tank, because he does have 6-star blessing, and that's pretty much the only reason. I mean, he does have good gear as well, but just because he has the highest level blessing, he works. And I think you can basically do the boss with any kind of team. Like, you will need some heals, you will need a cleanser with the right speed, but all of the other champions can be pretty much anything. And I would say that in future, when you get 5 and 6-star champions, even if they are rares, maybe you want to keep those rares. Like, I haven't kept any souls for rare champions, but let's say that you get one and maybe it has a poison or heal or anything remotely useful. Maybe even if it's not anything useful, but if it's a 5 or 6-star blessing, maybe even 4-star, you might just want to run it, and you might get higher win ratio on Shogun in a team like this. Now I get that 320 something speed on cleanser is not easy achievement, but many people can do this speed if you really put your best gear on it, and if you're super endgame, like, it might not even be that hard. But as long as you can do it, really any champions will go. And you will need blessings for this team, but if you play this game, over time you will definitely get blessings, even if it's not for the best champion. And that's pretty much it. I mean, this is not a team comp for a specific type of team. This is more of like a showcase or strategy, how you can do it. Kind of similar as I did for Dark Fae, that on that boss also, you don't need any specific champions, you just need specific types of builds to cheese the boss and know the mechanics. By the way, that boss isn't on this rotation, but if you are struggling with Dark Fae, I'm like, I definitely have the best Dark Fae guide that explains many mechanics that are not commonly known and there isn't videos about them. So if you want to know about that boss, I have even better guide on it than this guide, so check it out. But yeah, that's it. I mean, this isn't easy boss, like, you will need good gear to accomplish this, but as you can see, I can pretty easily auto it with kind of random team that is mostly trash champions. I mean, I guess you could say Rotos is a good champion, but it's really not used in this kind of content normally. But I happen to have him, he's not even geared for this, and he works. And yeah, I mean, I can quickly show you that the Mitrola, for instance, it is in stone skin, it's not built for this at all. Though I did change the boots just to get her a little bit faster, but I'll actually just put her in the back to the normal build that I use on her, because I think I'll probably use Mitrola on next reset. As a side note, just to explain the mechanics, the level of blessing that you have, the boss will lose 1 stack of the stacks that it gathers from it, and you basically need the boss to be below 20 stacks to effectively use burns, and it will get very risky if you get to 30 stacks or higher, and basically game over. And every weak hit that you do on the boss, it's extra 8 stacks on it, and then you remove number of stacks according to the blessings. Something that also makes Cardiel good, which isn't just that it does a cleanse, but it does do ally attack, which will remove a lot of the stacks if you have blessings. And you might consider any other ally attack champions as well. Like I mentioned, you will need 1 cleanser with 320 speed, and you will need some heals, but you can accomplish this with other champion. Like you could have Python, and then maybe couple champions with ally attack or something, or
Battery
very
low.
high level blessings on your champions. I did try it with Necret too, and Necret worked totally fine, so even something weird like Necret or Krela Witch Arm or whatever you happen to have, like try everything and see if you can make it work. But yeah, if you have any questions, maybe I can try to like help you out, but the short version is that from now on, when you pull soul stones, you want to keep eye on them and see maybe if you have blessings on some random trash champions that might be high level blessings and you could use them. That's basically what I did with what's his name? Crypt King. He's pretty much considered a trash champion. He used to have kind of use that people were using him in Spider back in the day, before Hard Spider. He was in some of those meta teams, but he does have a burn, he does have a decreased attack on A1, and that's actually pretty good. And he does have the level 4 blessing, which is the reason that I'm using him. But you want to keep eye for blessings on these kind of what you would consider trash champions. If they have anything remotely useful and you happen to get a high level blessing, then that's the way to go. And yeah, I didn't keep any rare blessings so far, or even epic blessings. Only if it's for champions that I use, I will just use them, but I will not keep any. But if I do get a 6-star blessing on a rare champion, which I'm sure I have gotten several, I will keep those and I will try those in future. Anyway, this is a bit weird guide, but I think this is actually helpful, so that's it and good luck with your Phantom Shogun.